Action is the insignia of life. You cannot not act. You have to act. Helplessly you will be acting. We started treating our duties and responsibilities to be a burden in life.
Namaste. Welcome to this episode of Wellness Wisdom. We have with us today Sri Ishwaran. In the last episode, we spoke about the traffic of life, and in this episode, we shall take up choice of action. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Sir, you mentioned last time about choices that we make in life. How do we ensure that we make the right choice?
As humans, we keep performing actions. Every action that we execute, we have this unique prerogative. That is, we can choose to do something, we can choose not to do, and we can choose to do it differently. This choice is not given to animals or plants. They live a beaten life. A cow is born a herbivore, lives as herbivore, dies as herbivore. Tiger, ferocious. You can never find a tiger which is meek and mild. If it is hungry, it will eat. If it is not hungry, it will not eat. There is no such thing called fasting. Animals don't go through this fasting. Why not? Nothing they have. They just live a life in a sequence, set pattern. Human alone has this choice of action. Now the question comes is, on what basis you make those choices? We all make choices. But we all expect to see whether the choice that I am making today, is it a right choice or the wrong choice? Remember, the choice cannot be decided right or wrong. You make a choice and make it right. You can't take a right decision. You take a decision and make it right. This is the principle of life. But then how to make it right is the next question we have to ask. How to make it right? We make it right through this process of who is making the choice. Action is the insignia of life. You cannot not act. You have to act. Helplessly you will be acting. But your actions were driven in the direction of what varies. Is your emotions deciding the course of action? Your desires driving the action, or your thinking driving the action? What I mean is, see, all of us say we do think. Yeah, I do think and do things. It's not that, impulse. Of course, once in a while I get impulsive. I, shout at people, all that. But then, more or less how I function is think. The question is, are you really thinking in the areas where you believe you have been thinking? I'll give a simple example. So much of analysis we do, reasoning we do, study we do, investigations we do, inquiry we do to decide whom to marry, when to marry, where the marriage should happen, how the marriage should happen. So much of thinking we have. I'm not saying you should not do that. So much of thinking we do. But how many of us ask the fundamental question of, why should I get married? Don't say, now I'm asking the same question. Right? After 25 years of marriage, don't say that. before marriage, how many of us ask this question, why I should get married? Not that you should not get married, I am saying. It's not that marriage is wrong or right. That's not the point. The point is, have you probed into why you should get married? That's where the choice starts. The choice of action, when we say, the choice comes from two aspects. The choice can be driven by the mind's impulses, emotions, desires, or the choice can be driven by your thinking intellect. If the choices were made by the intellect, your life will be streamlined. Your life is getting better and better and better. You will continue to experience what all of us crave for. What is a fundamental thing everyone looks for, sir? I want to have happiness. I want to be happy. You want to be just happy? No. I want to be. Happiness should not be interrupted at all. So what I want, sir? I want to have a continuous, uninterrupted, highest happiness possible in life. Every word is important here. Should be continuous, uninterrupted, highest happiness possibility I should have. We ask the question, what is going to ensure that you get that? Is the choice that you make in life. That choice is what, sir? The choice is your intellect is making the choice to do, not to do, or to do it differently. Vis-a-vis your emotions, your likes and dislikes, making a choice. I like it, I do. I don't like it, I don't do it. I like to eat ice cream, I eat ice cream. I don't like ice cream, I don't eat ice cream. That's about it. If life is going to be driven by this, so we say you have to make a choice. What is a choice you have in life? Life gives you a choice. What? What is going to be the criteria for me to make a choice? Test. Pleasure, pain. Anything gives pleasure, I go. Anything that gives me pain, avoid. Very simple equation, sir. Your entire life choices were made based on this singular parameter of pleasure, pain. The tragedy is we don't understand the design of life. The design of life is very, very paradoxical. Because of this paradox, we need this wisdom series. If this paradox is not there, we will not be requiring any scripture, any masters, any teaching. All of us will make right choices in life. What is the paradox? All that is beneficial to you starts painful, bitter. All that is malicious to you starts pleasant. Now go back to your parameter. Parameter is anything that gives me pleasure, do. Pain, don't do. What is the choice? This paradox is a problem.
So, we spoke about action. People also talk about renunciation. How do you reconcile renunciation and action?
Yeah, that's interesting. If you speak about action only, there is no problem. If you say renounce action, that is also not an issue. The problem we have with this body of knowledge is the same breath in which they insist on action, equal emphasis they give for renunciation also. Now, as a layman, we get totally lost. Say, am I to continue with action or am I to move in the direction of renunciation? Valid point. But what is interesting in Vedanta is, it says you have mistaken only one term there. The mistake is, it is not renunciation of action. It is renunciation in action. In and through performance of action, you have to renounce something. What is it that you clip? Renounce is dropping, clipping off. That's called renunciation in a very simple term. What is it that you are expected to clip? What is it that you are expected to drop? It is not the action, it is the likes and dislikes that driving the action. See, that you keep aside. Your anxiety, your excitement over the action, clip that and execute action. Your anxiety for the fruit, clip that and execute action. Like we see this nervous 90s, I don't know whether you have heard of nervous 90s in this world of cricket. They say the batsmen come to batting up to 90, there is no problem. They play. The moment they reach 90, suddenly something happens. Why they are not able to act? Now suddenly he is not able to find the gaps, he is not able to score, he gets tensed. From where that comes? What is suddenly changed in the field? It is just the scoreboard 90. Before that there is no problem. Why? That anxiety to reach 100, century. Somehow I have to get to that century. Suppose if you escape that, another problem we get into is the sheer excitement over the present action itself. You get excited, like you go to the wedding and see. You sit in the corner and watch people. It is so interesting to see. Suddenly you will find one person walking. They will walk. They will stop. They will walk back. Why they walked and why they walked back? It's an action, right? You go for what you went there, why you came back. Exactly like, the puppies, the dogs in the house. Suddenly he'll get up, he'll run, come back and sit. For what he did, why he did, it is just that excitement of the situation. You get so excited. Renounce that excitement, execute action. Renounce that worry and execute action. And when we say renunciation, we are asking you to renounce these three aspects you mix with action. What is that? Worry. You are worried with reference to the past failures. Imagine a person walking into the interview. This is the 17th interview he is walking in. 16 interviews failure. 17th interview he is walking in. Along with him, there is another person who is walking in for his first interview or the second interview, let's say. The walk itself will be different. Why? Because he carries the baggage of the 16 times I failed, 17th I should not, 17th this should, that. So his entire focus shifts away from answering the questions the interviewer is asking. Instead of answering that, his focus shifts there. Or he gets excited over the fact that he is sitting in that interview. I've been dreaming of this interview for the last 20 years. One day I will sit for this interview, sir. The sheer excitement. Or he is anxious. Will I pass? Will I get this placement or not? Will I get a placement or not? Will I get a placement or not? We see a lot of people getting excited and anxious about the visa. You don't stand in the visa queue, no? You see them, it is so interesting to watch those people. They get so excited or they get so anxious. When he says renunciation, we say drop the worry, drop that excitement, drop that anxiety. Clip these three aside. Renounce these three, focus on performing the action. The capacity to keep these three aside and execute action is where buddhi comes into picture. What is triggering your inability to do that? What is triggering the worry? What is triggering that excitement? What is triggering that anxiety? Is your mind. Mind means what? I told you already. Desires, likes and dislikes, emotions, impulses, etc. That is the cause of you. So, this body of knowledge says these masters come and tell us, don't waste your thought energy like that. Drop these things. Now, what we have mistaken that was to be stop action only. You know, in the Gita, he gives a beautiful verse. It says, Nahi kaschik kshanamapi yatu tishtatya karma krit. Says, you cannot be without action even for a split second. Says, it's not possible. You have to act. But along with action, you should learn to renounce also. The capacity to do that is where your renunciation in action reconciled.
Sir, what do you have to say about duties that one performs in this lifetime?
Duties. The word duties and responsibilities has become a Frankenstein today. We started treating our duties and responsibilities to be a burden in life. It is such a tragedy to take executing my responsibilities as a burdensome activity. That's why you find people, when they move away from their responsibilities, they feel that is freedom. Dropping off my responsibilities, closing down. A typical example would be a father feels, once my daughter gets married, appa, all my responsibilities over. What is that? He feels so relieved. The relief you can experience only when you treat something to be a burden. Every responsibility we think is a burden for us to carry. But the truth of life is exactly opposite. Your freedom lies in your responsibilities only, in your obligations, in your duties. The tragedy is we have converted that into this because of, again, a wrong understanding and application. The wrong understanding we have about the duty is what basis you are considering something to be your duty. And most of us think the duty is decided by the society. You see, oh, you are a teacher, and teachers have to be like this. And what is interesting is, what is a father should be, what a wife should be. What a wife should be, today you ask, is totally different from 100 years back, 200 years back. 200 years back, those set of human beings thought wife means this. Today we are sitting here, we are claiming this. Another 150 years down the line, another group of people will be living. Those people will say, and what is interesting is, we say that is wrong and we are correct. But one thing is common to all these things. We decide the duties and responsibilities based on a particular role that you play in life. As a human being, I am a son, a student, I am a teacher, I am father, I am brother, I am neighbor, citizen. So many roles I play. All of us understand that as father, what a person should be doing. As mother, what a person should be doing. As son, what a person should be doing. What we make a mistake is, we have taken these roles isolatedly, there is no problem. When you combine together, it becomes an issue. See, me as a person in my house, I play a role of a son, husband. Right? So long as only mother is there, son. So long as only wife is there, husband. Suddenly both were to stand in front of me, what happens to me? Mother looks at me, wife looks at me, now what I have to do? This is where we feel burden. That's why we think, oh sir, it is very difficult. So what to do now? Either we say, mother separate, wife separate. You live in your house, I live in my house. There's no problem. Once a month or weekends, we will meet for one meal. No issues, sir. Why? Because role-based performance of duties will be conflicting and tiresome because of the conflict. Therefore, you should not be deciding duties based on that. Not fixed by the society. Don't fix it based on your role that you play also. Duties and responsibilities ought to be decided based on the goal that you have in life. That's where your intellect comes into picture. It is the intellect that conceives and commits itself to a higher purpose, an unselfish ideal. When you work towards that unselfish ideal, all that you do towards that goal that you have fixed for yourself, to realize your goal, whatever you do, that's called a duty. Anything which is not contributing to the goal that you have fixed for yourself, or anything that is coming in the way of you realizing your goal, is to be renounced. So if you want to practice renunciation in action, what is required? You need to have a higher goal in life. If you have a higher goal, higher purpose in life, then your all actions that you do towards that becomes your duty. Then it will not be burdensome, it is energizing and invigorating. That's the difference. That's how you identify. That's the difference between the duty that we believe, what we experience, and what in reality that is.
Thank you, sir. Today we spoke about action and how buddhi once again is so important in our lives. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
We shall be back with another episode soon. Thank you everybody for staying through this episode of Wellness Wisdom. We will be back again with another episode. Till then, take care. Namaste.
Click on the bell icon to watch our latest videos.